Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Shades of Red podcast with me, Kraigen, and Levi. Um, Cam could not make it again because he's decided to watch the Giants game instead and can't do two things at once.
Simpleton.
Yeah. So,
You
guys,
hate to
Jack off.
who do you guys think looked really good this past weekend against whoever they played?
outside of Nolan, their quarterback, Oregon State played pretty well. I thought defense held USC to 17 points, and they scored 14 despite the quarterback throwing 4 interceptions. So
Wow, really? I didn't watch the game. I wanted to watch that game, but I had to work. Um, yeah, I was pulling for Oregon State. I saw they were up early.
yeah,
Iowa absolutely dominated Rutgers, their first offensive showing all year long.
yeah.
Who else? Let's see.
Just say it, dude. I know you're gonna say it. Just say it.
I don't know what you want me to say.
I know what I want you to say. You might as well just say it.
Notre Dame beat the crap out of North Carolina.
No, that's not it. Holy shit! It's the only thing you talked about this whole weekend.
Sorry, I don't recall Friday night or Thursday. I guess Wednesday, whenever it
The
was.
game didn't even start till Saturday, first of all. So that's one.
Do what?
The game wasn't even until Saturday. You're seriously the only thing you talked about all weekend was Adrian Martinez.
Oh,
And
9 a.m. baby.
where you can talk about it and
Oh, I forgot 9 a.m. Absolutely shut down Oklahoma by himself. Offense, defense, and special teams. That man's a monster.
Yeah, Kansas State, great game this weekend.
Yeah, actually, Reed was even like, well, I don't know what got into Adrian Martinez, but good for him. Notre Dame.
Yeah, he's
Notre Dame.
no expectations now.
Yeah, now he's got really. Well, he ran for 4 touchdowns, only threw for 1. James Madison walked into Boone, North Carolina, and absolutely upset App State.
it came back too. That was
Yeah, they did have to come back. They were down a lot too. Like they had to make a significant comeback to win that game. But now all App State fans can shut up because they lost to a first-year FBS team.
yeah. Fuck you guys, jagoffs.
Kansas beat Duke to be the tallest midget, the worst undefeated team, or the undefeated team that's going to get absolutely blown out by some opponent later in the year. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I mean, Lance Leipold's a good coach. He's done good things with Kansas, especially this year. But he's got to keep it up, and that bill's got to keep on coming. Middle Tennessee State blew out Miami. Score was closer than it actually was. Middle Tennessee State, I think, was up like 40-7 at some point or something like that.
I saw some crazy things from that game. Me and Craig are actually talking about it before you got here.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even realize there was a 98-yard touchdown. First of all,
Yeah.
that's one. One I can believe. And then the picture I sent in the chat where they're trying to run a jet sweep and the running backs like sandwiches themselves.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was embarrassing for Miami.
yeah.
Florida as a whole had a horrific weekend for football.
Yeah.
Florida lost. Miami lost. Florida International lose 73-0.
Yeah. So Western Kentucky
loses 98-0.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but Florida almost came back because Tennessee almost choked it again. I swear, Tennessee's defense is the worst thing about that team.
Yeah.
And Florida Atlantic lost. They went like 1-8 this weekend. Holy fuck.
Let's see.
Speaking of Florida, Florida State looks pretty good. They got Jordan Travis back from that injury really quick. So
Wake Forest looked really good
now.
against Clemson. Of course.
They lost.
Yeah, they lost in double overtime, but still, to go toe to toe with, the number 5 team in the nation like that, it's really good for Dave Clawson.
Yeah.
Who I think absolutely gets hired somewhere else after this year, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he stays with Wake Forest because maybe he's gonna make Wake Forest the next Bama, just unstoppable.
Maybe we'll have to see. Yeah.
They need to worry about filling their own stadium before they worry about winning football games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guns up, Red Raiders! Yes.
Yeah, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech looked good. Their quarterback is coming along. He's looking better each game. So
Texas is back, baby.
He got shut down against NC State.
That's why I said each game.
Texas is back to being 6-6 every year. Let's go.
Here's a stat that I want to throw out there for possibly last week about being cocky of college football. Texas Tech is 3rd in the country for passing yards per game. And NC State is the only team that has held them below 300 passing yards.
Wow.
No.
That's a good stat.
And we would have held him by a lot if it wasn't for garbage time. Because he only had 130 yards going into the fourth quarter.
Wow. Let's see, what else?
The passing yards and Texas Tech, their receiver Rice just looks like a monster. Just a mismatch for everybody. He looked really good against Texas.
That's good.
I think one of the best performances this week was Chip, the Colorado mascot. He looked really good playing solitaire on the sideline. Y'all see that video?
Yeah.
He's there. Joey, did you see it?
I did not see that.
They gave him cards. Or he found them. I don't know how he came in possession of these cards, but you know how Colorado has that section of their stadium where it's like there's no seats, it's like a painted, I guess, mural.
Yeah.
He was sitting on it on his knees, or he was kneeled down playing solitaire with these huge cards. And they zoomed to the score. It's 42-10.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Jesus.
I am. Hey, they did better after the solitaire game, though.
They scored a touchdown.
So they outscored UCLA 7-3 after that. So maybe they just need to play solitaire more.
Headline from Colorado's football game. This is literally the headline from the Colorado football game. Colorado football is so bad that its mascot spent Saturday's blowout loss playing the most insulting card game possible.
That is
beautiful.
Man, that is.
Maybe they'll put out an apology and I'll be better.
That Baylor Iowa State game was good.
Yeah, it was.
For a while. I mean, Iowa State was down 2 scores at one point. They lost by 7, so.
I think I was the only person to pick Baylor in that game, by the way.
Do what?
I think I was the only person that actually picked Baylor in that game, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think the rest of you said. I think both of you said Iowa State would win.
Yeah, I definitely said Iowa State.
I don't know. Maybe I was on the Matt Campbell train. Matt Campbell to Nebraska.
I don't think you were on the Matt Campbell train. I think I'm about 100% positive you're on the Matt Campbell train.
I mess with Reed. Don't take it seriously. TCU SMU, That was a good game. 42-34 final.
Yeah, it was a pretty good game. I watched that game.
It was good in the start. I don't know how it ended though.
TCU won. That's how it ended.
Yeah, well, haha. um,
Judging by the box score, they kind of put it out of reach on a 63-yard run from Amari Demarcado.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it. Give up big plays, get beat.
3-yard runs, just they do it.
Yeah.
They will. They will do it. Texas A&M Arkansas. That game ended on a missed field goal, didn't it? Like Arkansas had the field goal to win it and missed.
Yeah.
I was at the state game.
I believe that's the field goal that went off the top of the upright.
It did. You're right. It went off the top of the upright and came back.
Yeah.
My only takeaway from that game is I said this to Kraigen earlier. That whole team must have got together and was just like, we really should not let KJ Jefferson win or be successful. They had to throw that game. Like, there's no way. And they started off so good, and then all of them just collectively just shit the bed.
Yeah. 21 points, and all of them came from KJ Jefferson, besides the extra points.
Wow.
They're up 14-0 after 10 minutes. Not even 10 minutes.
Like, it was so quick. Good. They were up 14-0, yeah.
Everybody was just like, you know what, fuck it. KJ he can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
San Diego State with Virginia Tech transfer from Oregon transfer. Braxton Burmeister absolutely stomped Toledo 17-14. I think he had 63 passing yards. No, that guy sucks. I cannot believe Tech started him over Hendon Hooker. Or wanted to put him in over Hendon Hooker anyway.
ECU lost to Navy. Nerds.
Yeah, by 3 in double overtime.
Yep, you guys. You suck. All you fucking G5 schools in North Carolina talk all this shit, and you lose to James Madison and Navy. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Hey, Army won in pretty convincing fashion this week, didn't they? No, Air Force. Air Force did. Air Force beat Nevada 48-20.
Fucking, they didn't just beat them. They barely let them have the ball.
Yeah, no. They running the ball, I forgot how many times, but they only threw it 3 times.
75.
75. Wow.
Like, and they had 40 minutes of possession or something. Oh, it was more than that. I think it was 44. How many minutes are in a game? 60? I think it was 44.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Can't do much if you don't have the ball,
This week it was a good week for close games. I think a lot of, especially for the top teams, there's a lot of games, and for a few of those teams that's kind of embarrassing that it was close. Pitt only winning by 21 against Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Not a great look.
Yeah.
Kentucky beating Northern Illinois by 8. Also not a good look.
Georgia only beating Kent State by 15.
17.
17, yeah.
Not a good look either. So, I mean, but these teams you're bound to have one game where you do some stupid shit, and so maybe it's just that was for these schools, but we'll see going forward how it works out. I think
Georgia, Penn State.
Yeah, that one was shocking. I thought after Kent State got 3, I was like, yeah, that's it for them. And I kept looking, and it just wasn't it for them. They just
they stuck around and won, so that was a rough game for Georgia.
What the fuck were those uniforms? They're helmets. They were like yellow. Like, did y'all see them?
I saw one play from the game, but I don't remember the uniforms. I just remember it was like a check down to the running back, and he took off for 50 yards or something like that.
Their helmets were like, god awful yellow.
Let's see.
I didn't know what. I can't even see what's on the helmet. It's
Oh, yeah, they are yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't. Helmets weren't good, but they played good. So
Yellow on white, and it says Kent on the side of the helmet.
Oh, Kent. But yeah, so good week for football.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
it was a good week. It's gonna get better this week.
Yeah, this week a lot of good games this weekend too. Tennessee is off this week, so you won't be seeing any of them. But LSU travels to
A win for
Auburn.
college football.
Auburn, oh my gosh, we watched the Auburn game because of course where I work we watched Auburn, but that game was horrendous. That was the most undeserving win I think I've ever seen in my life. It was with 2 seconds left, the thicker kicker, as Missouri calls him, and all the commentators and everybody apparently calls him the thicker kicker. Dude weighs like 250. His number 98 looks like a D lineman. Like this dude is fat. It's not muscle, it's fat. But he the whole drive that Missouri was driving down, he wasn't warming up at all. And then they get down to the 2 or inside the 10 with 2 seconds left, and they call him on and straight up the middle. All he has to do is kick it straight. And then Missouri calls a timeout, and then the kicking team goes out there. 2 seconds left, just shanks it right. And then overtime comes. Auburn, Ashford almost throws an interception, but they had to review it. The ball hit the ground and it ruled incomplete. 4th and 12 or something like that, from their own 27 or from Missouri's 27. So they kick a field goal to go up 17-14. Missouri gets the ball, and on the first or second play of overtime, Missouri's quarterback throws a pass, receiver catches it, runs up the sideline, gets to the 1 yard line, and instead of just stepping out and being, first and goal from the 1 or 2 yard line, tries to dive for the end zone, switches hands with the ball, and when he does, he loses control, fumbles into the end zone, and Auburn recovers for a touchback to win the game.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolute dumbest thing I've ever seen. You're right. Just get out of bounds. You got the first down. That's all you really needed. You can score because Auburn's defense has been trash the entire second half. Auburn, I don't know what Auburn's going to do. Auburn has absolutely nothing. Ashford got hurt at one point in the game and had to put their third or fourth string quarterback in. It was atrocious. But they got the win, and then they play LSU this week, so I expect nothing more than LSU to come in and absolutely roll them.
Yeah, both teams 3-1. That should be an interesting game.
It's a very rough 3 for Auburn. It's beating San Jose by 8. It's beating they beat whoever they played week 1. They stomped them, but it was an FCS team, I'm pretty sure. And then you barely beat San Jose State, and then you get rolled by Penn State, and then you get lucky against Missouri.
Yeah, against Missouri too. Lucky that's tough.
Missouri beat themselves in that game, honestly.
Yeah.
right. Who looked really bad this week aside from Auburn and Georgia?
Let's go.
Oklahoma looked bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just because 9 a.m. was there. You just tearing it apart, 9 a.m. up and ready to work, as Levi said. Let's see. Arizona State without Herm Edwards is not better than Arizona State with Herm Edwards.
Penn State did a lot worse against Central Michigan than they did against Auburn. It was 33-14 final.
Yeah. Oregon.
Michigan State.
Oregon is like the most bipolar team I've ever seen. Like, they come out, they put up 3 against Georgia, and then last week they put up, like, they stomped BYU, and this week they were down to Washington State for a while, and then had to come back and win 44-41 to Washington State.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Oregon's going to do, but I don't think they're going to beat USC when it comes time. They probably won't even beat Oregon State in rivalry week.
Yeah. I've got them. We'll get to it later in games of the week, but I've got them on upset alert for this week.
Yeah.
Although I do think they played well. Bo Nix had a good game against Washington State despite throwing a pick. He threw 3 touchdowns. So.
428 yards, too. Main went off. But
yeah, he had a great game against Washington State. So
their defense has got to do something, though.
Yeah. That was the strength coming in of the team, too, was the defense with a bunch of guys coming back, and then Dan Lanning, too. You expect defense to get a little tighter with him as the coach, but
yeah,
he's a defensive guy, especially after putting, 13, or not 13, but 11 guys on the defense in the league last year in the draft or something like that.
Yeah. It was a lot out of Georgia. It was crazy. But
yeah,
kind of deserved, though. I mean, they did have a really good defense last year.
Yeah.
Probably an understatement. But South Carolina this week looked really bad in the first half. They were only up 20-14 at halftime. And then come back, scored 22 unanswered in the third, and then win the fourth 14-6 to win 56-20. But it was,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the score at halftime. I'm like, man, this team is struggling. Yeah. Shane Beamer must have been pissed off at halftime or something. Cause
yeah, they came out a completely different team.
Yeah, they came out kicked in gear. Kentucky looked a little rough, only beating NIU by 8.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, we did.
They looked rough. Ooh, Caleb Williams against Oregon State only threw 44% completion. 16-36.
Ole Miss only beat Tulsa by 8 too.
Yeah.
A lot of people think Ole Miss is. I don't know. Ole Miss hasn't played anyone really tough this year, and sure they've blown out a few teams they needed to, but they should have blown out Tulsa too. I don't know. They only beat Troy by 18, but they beat the crap out of Central Arkansas and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin even took it.
Even those are still 4-0.
There's a FCS team that scored 98 on Wagner this week. I can't remember who that was though. But regardless, that could have been Ole Miss. It was who?
Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, okay.
98-0.
Yeah, Stephen F. Austin, 98-0. Had 4 different quarterbacks make passes and 10 different rushers or something like that. And still, it was just 98.
Yeah, just a complete clinic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Steve and I were talking about that game earlier, and I think he said there were 23 points from the defense or something like that.
Wow, that's crazy. But
yeah.
that could have been Lane Kiffin on Georgia State had he not let up in the second half.
Back to the bad games. How about Michigan State?
Yeah, Mel Tucker is not it for Michigan State.
Yeah.
I remember everybody was hyped about it, and they come out and they get absolutely rolled this week by Minnesota.
Yeah. They got
Well,
their run game didn't really get going at all.
well,
Their leading rusher was Jacob Broussard with 6 attempts.
they don't have Kenneth Walker III anymore to carry the offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broussard's a Colorado transfer too, so that's really all you need to know about him.
Oh yeah.
I've watched him for a couple years, and he
Yeah.
had his moments. He was decent, but he's at Michigan State now and not having too great a time.
How about Colorado State losing to Sacramento State 41-10?
41-10 to Sac State?
Yeah, to Sacramento State. Now, Colorado State has a first-year coach, but I don't think even last year they were this bad.
Yeah. Last year they had a good quarterback, too. I don't know if he's back or not, but...
I should know who their quarterback is, but they're 0-4. They lost to Michigan, Mid-Tennessee State, Washington State, and Sacramento State.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. First year coach, I don't remember who it is. I want to say it's the brother of somebody, I think. Hang on, I'll let you know.
Sacramento State is a big guy, too. They're FCS.
Who is?
Sacramento State. They're Big Sky FCS.
Oh, Jay Norville. Yeah, that's right. Isn't he the brother of Mike Norville?
Oh yeah.
Nope, he's not.
He
just has the same last name. His only brother is Aaron Norville. And that guy's an actor. he was in Transformers. He's not even an actor. He was a uniformed cop number 1.
Now he's the coach of 0-4 Colorado State.
No, his brother is.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's Aaron. That's his brother who is the actor, quote unquote. Yeah, everyone else looked fine this week. I mean, Tennessee's defense, of course, looked bad. Their defense always looks bad. If they can fix that, they could be a contender. But right now, I think they're just a pretender. Troy looks like a pretty decent team this year, from what I've seen. Almost upset App State in Boone on game day. Come out, beat Marshall the other day. What's their record? They're 2-2, 1-1 in conference.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not really a bad team. I think they've got a new coach too. I mean, one of their losses is Ole Miss by 18, and they beat Alabama A&M, lost to App State, and beat Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We touched on it a little bit last week with David Shaw on the hot seat with Stanford, and Stanford looks pretty bad this year so far.
They're terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. They only lost 40-22 to us.
Yeah, 40-22.
They got 15 in the fourth quarter. So 15 of their 22 was scored in the fourth quarter in garbage time.
Yeah.
It's 40-70 before that. So 40-7, sorry. But
yeah, 40-70.
Yeah, they scored 14 in the fourth quarter against USC when USC benched everybody. So they were down 41-14 in that game.
Speaking of coaches on the hot seat, Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern lost to Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
17-14.
This week or last week? Oh.
This week. Yeah, that's rough.
Dropping games. Yeah. Especially when you're Northwestern and you're not going to win many games in the Big Ten. So.
Yeah, I think it's about time they let Pat go.
Yeah, he's been there. How long was it? We looked it up the other day.
God, since 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be just time to go a different direction.
Well, they're at Penn State this week, and I don't know if they'll score.
Yeah, that's a rough game.
Their only win this year came against Nebraska in Ireland.
Yeah. Maybe we get another coach fired on the field.
Yeah. I don't know if Penn State will do it, but maybe the game after that.
Yeah. Penn State, he probably has some leeway there because
Yeah,
it's Penn State.
they're number 11, so.
Yeah. And
But
Northwestern.
yeah, there were Auburn fans hoping that Auburn would lose this past weekend so that Harsin would get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can speak to it, but a lot of what I've heard from Auburn camps is that nobody likes Harsin. So.
Oh no, nobody likes Harsin. Everyone wants him gone. But my boss, huge Auburn fan because we live in the area. But he's like, man, I really want Dabo. I'm like, you can't afford Dabo.
Yeah. There's no way Dabo would go to Auburn either.
He's like, you know what? We should just go after Hugh Freeze then. And like, if he wants to leave Liberty, yeah, sure. He's like, he'll leave for enough money. I'm like, I don't know. He really wants that Tennessee job, and if Heupel messes up, then he's gone.
Yeah. Although I don't see that happening. Heupel seems like he's got Tennessee on the right track right now. They're doing well. So.
Well,
I think
his quarterback really helps him though.
Yeah.
Hooker.
Still, weapons around them too. They've done a good job recruiting them and getting them in. And they've looked good.
So. Most of his weapons around him came from previous staffs, though.
That's fair, yeah. What year is he in now? His Heupel's second year, right?
Yeah, it's his second year.
Gotcha, yeah.
So they're at LSU not this week, but the week after. That should be a good win. And then they get Alabama at home. So that'll be their real test. Well, one of the two of them anyway.
Yeah.
They play number 1 and number 2 in the country this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they do every year, but.
Yeah. Because Bama and Tennessee's a rivalry.
The good news is after Bama, they get UT Martin, so they get like a rest game. But then they got to prepare for Kentucky. And then immediately after that is Georgia. It's 6 days later. And then they get Missouri, another kind of rest game. And then at South Carolina and at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, so pretty easy end to the schedule.
Yeah, last 3 weeks are pretty good for them.
Yeah, it's just Alabama and Georgia on their schedule. So.
Yeah, and Kentucky. I mean, I wouldn't sleep too much on Kentucky this year either. But
yeah,
I mean,
they beat Kentucky.
Yeah, they had a bad week this past week. I mean, 31-23 to NIU.
Yeah, if they take care of their business, Tennessee should be 10-2, I think.
Yeah.
Play a good bowl game. Come back next year. And try to knock off either Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah, well.
I mean,
one of them has to knock each other off.
A lot of them think they can beat Alabama right now. So, which, I mean, they could potentially if Bryce and the receivers don't find their rhythm and get good chemistry going by the time we play them. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Kent State found something against Georgia that worked. So maybe that highlights some sort of issue.
Maybe, yeah. There could be some nice game film on those here in there to exploit Georgia or something. Georgia probably just wasn't taking them seriously. But
that's probably true, too. But
yeah. They were probably playing pretty vanilla, too, from a scheme standpoint. So.
Yeah, I'd say they were.
Yeah, you probably give Georgia the benefit of the doubt because it's Georgia, but rough game for them. So.
Very rough. But yeah, Kansas remains undefeated. Tennessee remains undefeated. Who else is undefeated?
Washington.
Yeah, Washington is undefeated. Oklahoma is not anymore. Alabama, Clemson. Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson,
Penn State.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
NC State.
Florida. Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss. Ole Piss.
Kentucky. NC State.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Florida State.
Oh, I forgot Florida State's undefeated.
Yeah, they've had a good start to the year.
They have.
USC is undefeated still.
Yeah, they are.
Barely.
Poor Oregon State. I feel bad for Oregon State. That's one of those teams you just kind of pull for because they've been bad for so long.
Yeah. Jonathan Smith, I've said it before, probably on here, I think, but I really like him as a head coach. He's looking good. He's got Oregon State playing a lot better. So
How long
they're
has he
on
been
for
there?
I think this is his like 4th year, maybe.
Oh, I didn't know he was there though. Well, I don't know. I thought maybe their coach was there longer than that, so I don't know. Syracuse is undefeated.
Yeah,
They're
Syracuse
4
is
0
right.
after beating UVA on Friday night by 22-20. That's another ugly win because UVA lost to Indiana like 34-3.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 years he's been there since 2018. 2014 to 2017, he was OC quarterbacks coach at Washington for us under Peterson.
Oklahoma State and TCU are both undefeated. Michigan, you may have said them.
Michigan. I didn't say Michigan. Yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah, I did too. I'm going through
UCLA
standings
is
right
undefeated.
now.
UCLA is undefeated, although they've played a lot of nobodies so far.
Yeah. Well, they almost lost to South Alabama, didn't they? Or was that Cal? One of them almost lost to South Alabama.
Yeah, it was South Alabama, UCLA, 32-31. They beat South Alabama.
Yeah, that's bad. Yes. Oh, they won't win this week.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah.
us. So.
Yeah. Where did Levi go?
Ooh. They've got a tough schedule. They've got next 4 games are Washington, Utah, Oregon. Stanford doesn't look very good, but they could pop off. They've been known to in the past, and even though if they're not playing well, they'll take a game off somebody. So
You have one
they're
good
a tough
year,
team.
one good game. Yeah.
Yeah, USC and California later in the year. Cal's look decent this year so far, so could be
So
tough year. UCLA maybe some 6-6, 7-5 action if their things don't go their way.
in the Sun Belt, there are 2 undefeated teams. You've got Coastal Carolina and James Madison.
Nice.
James Madison. I don't know if anyone's gonna beat James Madison this year.
And Coastal's kind of fell off the radar for most mainstream stuff too. So
For most mainstream, yeah. It's just because they're not new anymore. They're not,
yeah,
playing the toughest opponents. But I mean, they get James Madison very last game of the year.
nice.
James Madison. Here's their next 3 games: Texas State, Arkansas State, Georgia Southern. That's 3 pretty easy games
Yeah, they should win all those
for the way they're playing. I think their coach might get hired somewhere after this year if he does that.
for sure. Yeah, he's definitely probably on the short list for a lot of places like Georgia Tech, Nebraska.
Oh, Signetti, absolutely. Oh, talk about Georgia Tech, huh? They want Deion Sanders. All Georgia Tech fans want Deion. Deion's not leaving the HBCU. It doesn't matter how much money you're going to give him because he's not in it for the money. He's got money.
Yeah, he's set on money. He doesn't need money.
Yep.
He's in it to be a coach.
Absolutely.
Especially with his kids going to Jacksonville State now too.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got kids there now, so he's probably not going to want to leave.
No, not at all. I would be surprised if he left. Well, I don't know. Venables left his kid at Clemson.
Said, see ya, it's Oklahoma time.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, good luck. Yeah, so I think Signetti from James Madison. I don't think Sean Clark is on anyone's radar from App State. I could see Dave Clawson being on some lists. I could see Hugh Freeze still being on a lot of people's list.
Yeah.
He's still doing good at Liberty. He's only got 1 loss this year. I don't remember who it was to though. Wake Forest, yeah, by 1, 37-36.
Oh yeah.
Yep. But the rest of their schedule is pretty easy too, given how good Liberty is.
Yeah.
They get Virginia Tech at home next to last week of the year, so that'll suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean they've got potential to go 11-1, 10-2, somewhere in there. Hugh Freeze, I don't know if Hugh Freeze really stays after this year.
Yeah.
Going back on kind of contradicting myself saying about the thing about Tennessee earlier, but maybe he stays and tries to build Liberty up. Maybe he and tries to get him in the ACC or something like that because they're still independent for one more year, I think, or for the rest of
Oh
this
yeah.
year at least. I can't believe they put James Madison into a conference out the gate.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I
That's
did.
cool. It's really cool for James Madison.
Oh yeah, those kids are ecstatic.
Yeah. Wasn't there something about them not being eligible to play in a championship or something though?
Yeah, if they win the Sun Belt East, they can't play in the championship game because they're
Oh yeah. That's
ineligible. I don't think they can play in a bowl game either because it's their first year. I think you have to. I think in your first and second year you're not eligible for a bowl game, but in years 3 and 4 you are.
so weird. But
Yeah, because Liberty went 6-6 their first 2 years FBS and did not make a bowl game.
oh yeah.
Their first year, I remember they beat Baylor at Baylor, like 45-42. That's the year Baylor.
Nice.
That's the year Baylor went like 1-11. Their only win coming against Kansas, I think.
Yeah.
Where's Where's game day at this week?
I think it's Clemson NC State.
Oh
Let
yeah,
me check.
it is. I think you're right. I think I
Yeah.
saw that.
I mean, that's the game it should be. So whether or not because of the hurricane and stuff, it'll actually be there, I don't know. But
I think it just adds the excitement of it all.
yeah, just chaos.
Yeah, I mean hurricane games they're crazy to watch. There's not a lot of passing. That's for sure. Unless you're Virginia Tech at UNC in 2016, then you just throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns, and Mitch Trubisky can't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are going to for that game.
good stuff. Good stuff. All right, you want to go transition into this week's games
Yeah.
since we've already talked about it some.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold
It's a
on.
good segue. Game.
I'm back. My
Okay.
dog took a shit on my floor.
Oh, that's great.
And it wasn't even compact.
No, great.
So I don't know what I missed, but stinky.
We were just talking
I meant
about
stinky.
this past week, the games this past weekend, and also coaches, where they could land, coaches that could leave,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Rip Geoff Collins.
Hugh Freeze, Dave Clawson, Signetti from James Madison.
Yeah.
Mac Brown.
Yeah. Fuck Mac Brown.
Deion Sanders, but we're thinking he probably doesn't move.
Yeah, we don't think Deion Sanders is going to go anywhere.
He's not gonna leave. I don't think he leaves unless it's Florida State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure.
Unless somebody offers him like a shit ton of money, then.
Well, I don't know because he's not in it for money.
Said what?
He's not in it for money.
Yeah, okay. Somebody offers him to be the highest paid college coach. He's not turning it down.
Yeah.
Would you pay an FCS coach more than $12 million a year for their first time coaching in
It matters
Power
what I
5?
would do. It matters what Nebraska would do.
Yeah. Just Deion Sanders, you might as well.
I mean, these teams are fucking paying $15 million, $12 million buyouts.
Yeah, that's buyouts though.
Yeah,
Like their coaches are only making $34 million a year.
Yeah, but just think about how much money they have to where they can comfortably pay out a $15 million buyout.
Only in the SEC and Big Ten, I guess. Some schools in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and they get that money every single year.
Yeah.
Who knows how much money these schools actually have to
Oh,
pay?
they've got tons in academic money, but some schools are not good enough to bring in the football crowds.
But the school that is, they might be willing to pay that money to.
Well, Auburn's not
You
going to
never know. I
offer
mean,
them that. Georgia Tech doesn't have that money
they just paid fucking $12 million cash.
for a buyout. The dude was extended, like he still had years on his contract, so they had to pay for that
Really?
because he was only making
Dude,
$3 million a year. They're not going to pay Deion Sanders $12 million a year to come in and go 5-7 every year.
Joey, if they were that worried about money, they would have waited until January when his buyout went down to 7. They
I like.
clearly have no care about.
Well, I did. Didn't you
They
just
also
say?
were paying
Wait,
Jeff.
didn't you just say that he was going to get a bonus for tenure or whatever?
A bonus for tenure, but his buyout was still going to go down. But
Yeah, I don't know.
would you rather? I mean, that's a decision for them. I mean, I personally don't see a purpose of keeping a coach around that's plummeting a program anyway. But like, if you were thinking about money, and his buyout goes from 11.4 to 7, obviously you're not worried about money if you're going to let him sit there.
Yeah, but it's still not really that much money, like for a college to pay $11 million for a buyout.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If they can do that, no problem. Then you know how much money they could offer salary.
Yeah, but are they going to pay D on that kind of money?
Oh no, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
Look, I would not. Let me preface this with I would not. I don't think Georgia Tech would either. However, but I thought I may have misheard. I thought the conversation was would Dion leave for money. I think if he became the
No, this is
highest
just
paid
about
head
Georgia
coach.
Tech. This one was just about Georgia Tech. Just would Georgia Tech pay
Oh, okay.
Dion? Yeah.
No, they won't. I honestly think that they're going to keep the person that they just. I think if their season goes okay this season, they're going to keep the guy that they just promoted because he's a Georgia Tech alum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think if they do okay this year, they're just going to keep that guy and hope that he can like Pat Fitzgerald it or something.
Keep it going for 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we talked about him too. We talked about Pat Fitzgerald getting fired because he's 1-4 this year, 1-3, whatever. Only win coming against Nebraska in Ireland.
He will, and it's sad. I mean, you never want to see a guy get fired from his own school, but
Yeah.
I feel like he's done enough for that university to where even though he's not doing good now, it'll be a good relationship. I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
On good terms. Yeah.
Mutually understand.
Well, we watched Nebraska fire Scott Frost, and that was his alma mater.
Yeah, but I don't think that's not as. I don't
Yeah.
think that's going to be as nice as this one is because Pat at least put some seasons together for him.
Yeah, Pat was there
Yeah.
for forever, for a long, long time.
Well, he at least had a winning season.
He had several.
Yeah.
He had a few. 2020, I
That's what I'm
think.
saying. Scott Frost did not do shit his entire time there.
No, he didn't even
I
recruit
mean,
well. At least the guy before him, what was his name? Reed complained about him all the time. At least that dude could
Pat
recruit.
Fitzgerald had 11 seasons of 6 wins.
Out of what, his 16 years there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 11.
That's
Nice.
for Northwestern. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think even if Pat Fitzgerald goes, I think he goes into another. I mean, unless how old is he?
He's not very old.
No.
He's like late
He's
40s.
47. I
Yeah.
think he goes into another head coaching role, like the G5.
Yeah. he should get another head coaching job. Northwestern is a hard place to win. So
He could go to Bowling Green after Scott Leffler gets fired.
He was 31 when he took that job.
Wow, yeah, he was a young coach. I remember that. I remember reading that. Not actually remembering him take over because I didn't really pay attention to college football in 2006. But I remember reading that. But I mean, Sean Lewis is a name that's been floating around to take the Georgia Tech job, the Kent State head coach.
Oh my god, that's one fucking week.
No. That was a stretch to get the coach. It wasn't even like, they could go after this guy. It was like, it's a stretch, but they could get this guy.
That name only is coming up because Kent State did what Georgia Tech wishes they could do, and that's compete in a football game against Georgia.
Yeah. Very true.
That's the only reason that name is up. Look, I don't even think Kent State's that good. I think Georgia just played like absolutely fucking shit.
Yeah, they had a down game, and we talked about that too.
Unless Kent State is, I don't think they are what I think they are, but they I don't see it. I mean, maybe they will end up running the MAC and winning, but I don't see it.
I don't know. Maybe they take Matt Campbell. Georgia Tech just gets, players to be better instead of winning games.
Will not leave Iowa State for Georgia Tech. That's
that would be a huge downgrade.
That'd be a terrible move.
I think no, Auburn would not do that. Luke Fickell would not leave Cincinnati for Georgia Tech because that's a downgrade.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Urban Meyer is not going to Georgia Tech. Urban Meyer may not even go to Nebraska.
I think that coach that they hired ends up becoming their full-time coach, unless Georgia Tech absolutely fucking is horrific. I think that probably ends up being their coach, unless somebody from the top rope comes in and wants the job. But
maybe Jimmy Chadwell. I don't know. That's a downgrade from Coastal.
Did y'all want to talk about games this week?
Not yet. We were just getting ready to. But for sure.
Yep. Let's get into the games this week because there's quite a few ranked games.
Yeah, there are, including game of the week.
I'm gonna go in order, and I'm gonna keep track of who we pick, so I know who has the best record. Because I think I'm better than you guys. So
okay.
It's personal at this point, and I already put mine down, so I'm not copying anybody.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So all right, first game for ranked games we're gonna predict.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of them quickly. Utah State at BYU. Thursday night, ESPN.
Yeah, it should be BYU by a lot.
Yeah, Utah State's pretty poor. They lost to Weber State.
Yeah.
35-7, so not a good team. Friday night, ESPN 10:30. Number 15 Washington travels to UCLA.
Yeah, 4-0 battle. I think Washington takes it.
Yeah, Washington.
Wow, guys, we're so alike. Now into Saturday. Noon, Fox. Number 4 Michigan travels to Iowa. Michigan favorite 10.5.
Yeah, 10.5 is interesting.
Iowa is always a tough place to play for teams, especially Iowa. Maryland, almost got that upset against Michigan this past weekend. Iowa found some offense. I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people think. I think Iowa covers the spread, but I think Michigan pulls this one out by 3.
Yeah, I think Michigan gets it done, and it's going to be another low-scoring game like last week with Maryland for them. But they'll still find a way to win because it's Iowa. So
Yeah, it is Iowa.
Over under on that game, by the way, is 42. So they are really projecting a
Yeah,
very
low
game.
scoring. Yeah.
Noon ESPN. One of the big matchups of the week. Number 7 Kentucky travels to number 14 Ole Miss. Ole Miss favored 6.5.
yeah,
I don't care where this game's at. I like Kentucky in this one. Ole Miss is 4-0, but they're 4-0 against 4 really bad teams, and they're coming off a bad win over Tulsa.
we're going to find out a lot about these two teams.
Now Kentucky just had a bad win too, but Kentucky's also had at least 2 good wins.
Now, I wouldn't call Florida a good win, but
Well, Florida's hanging around in the games they lose. They're like Nebraska last year.
that's fair. Yeah.
Because I think Florida's only like 9 points from being undefeated or something like that.
Cammy, who do you have?
I have Ole Miss winning this one.
He's the first one to vary. I have Kentucky winning.
Yeah. Should be a good game.
I think it'll be close, but I don't trust Ole Miss right now.
Yeah, they've been really shaky, so it'll be a good test for them to see where they're at. So definitely win, but
noon ABC, number 18 Oklahoma trying to bounce back, traveling to undefeated TCU. Oklahoma favored 6.5.
Oklahoma just got absolutely lit up by 2 a.m. TCU is undefeated, but not against any really good opponent. SMU, I guess, the biggest win. Give me Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma gets a bounce back win here.
Okay.
I think I called him 2 a.m., but he's 9 a.m. because he's ready to work.
Noon. God damn, there's a lot of fucking noon games.
Yeah, there are.
Noon on ESPN2. Purdue travels to undefeated number 21 Minnesota. Minnesota favored by 12.
Yeah, Minnesota's going to beat them by a lot more than 12.
Give me the 9th-year quarterback with the 8th-year running back, Minnesota over Purdue.
Yeah. If that game's close, I'd be surprised, but also not surprised because
Purdue's really sucked this year.
Yeah, but Aiden McConnell there's a couple games of the season where he's just like, you know what? I'm fucking prime Peyton Manning, dude. Blings it.
I mean,
so I don't think it's this game, but he does do that.
1 touchdown interception ratio despite being 2-2, but he's not going to do much against Minnesota, I don't think. Minnesota's looked pretty good this year.
Yeah. Noon again on the Big 12/ESPN Plus. Texas Tech travels to number 25 Kansas State. Kansas State favored.
Kansas State coming off a big win, big play by 9 a.m. Man comes up, he's ready to work all the time. At home this week, give me the Red Raiders. I have no faith in 9 a.m. to win this one.
Dang. It's another similar pick. I was going to go Texas Tech as well.
Texas Tech coming off a big win over Texas, too.
But yeah, I like where Texas Tech is at right now. I think they're on the right path.
What was your pick, Levi?
I went Texas Tech. Did Kraigen say Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Joey's wrong. I wouldn't be surprised either way, but I feel like
I just feel like Texas Tech is looking good. So
2:00 p.m. These are all Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Pac-12 Network. Oregon State travels to number 12 Utah. Before you make your pick, also let it be known that Utah's main target is out for the season.
yeah, Brant Kuthi got hurt. He's out. So Dalton Kincaid will step up. He's a really good tight end number 2 for them. So there should be a pretty seamless fit, but they do like to play multiple tight ends, so it could be whoever that second tight end that steps up is going to have a lot to do. So
Did you say Brent Koofy?
yeah,
More like
Kuthi.
Brent
No,
Goofy.
Brent Cucci. He's a
Brent
Cucci.
Coochie. All right.
NFL caliber tight end that got hurt.
I'll take
So that's all.
Oregon State's looked pretty solid this year. Almost upset USC this past week. Utah, all I know really about Utah is they lost to Florida by 3. Give me Oregon State.
You're going Oregon State?
I'm going Oregon State.
Yeah. What are you going, Levi?
I went Utah.
Utah. Nice. I think
Did you say Oregon State
will
too?
I think Oregon State will get their ranked win here too. They put up a good performance against USC. I don't think
Ranked win? No, they're not doing it. They're going to do it.
I don't think Nolan will cost the team with 4 interceptions again. So I think he'll have a bounce back game in Oregon State. Another close game, low scoring. So expect a lot of defense. But I think Oregon State gets it done.
Yeah, their defense has been solid.
Next one, 3:30 CBS. Number 2 Alabama travels to number 20 Arkansas. Alabama favored by 17.
Well, if Arkansas wants to decide they want KJ Jefferson to do everything himself again and piss on him, give me Alabama by 40.
Yeah, I think
Alabama
clear.
And the way Arkansas's been playing right now, I don't know that they'll do very well. So good test for Alabama.
Next one. I'm already putting their predictions in because I already know what you're going to say. But 3:30 Big Ten Network. Rutgers travels to number 3 Ohio State. Ohio State only favored by 40 whole points.
Ohio State, really good team this year. I think they're really getting the gears, in place now, really meshing well. Rutgers had a surprisingly low-scoring game against Iowa and allowed Iowa to score 25, I think. Give me Ohio State, but I think Rutgers covers by 2 points. I think Ohio State only wins by 38.
Yeah. They're playing in Ohio Stadium. Big crowd, big time.
Oh, you're right. Never mind. Ohio State covers plus 20.
Yeah,
Give me
I don't.
Oh, that's another interesting game because Greg Schiano traveling to Ohio State.
Yeah, away game for Rutgers. Give me Rutgers.
Yeah.
No,
I will put that down.
Ohio State's going to win, and it's not going to be close.
Yeah, it's a.
Yeah.
Over under is 59.5, by the way. So they're pretty much expecting that Ohio State wins.
Ohio
50
State gets that 59.5 by themselves. So
they're expecting Ohio State to win 50-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, another big matchup, Reno. 3:30 p.m. Fox. Number 9 Oklahoma State travels to number 16 Baylor. Baylor favored 2.5.
Well, Baylor did good against Iowa State in what Reed says Dave Aranda's uh, audition for Nebraska coaching job. Oklahoma State has 3 wins this year, all against pretty bad teams. Gave up 44 to Central Michigan and beat Arizona State and Arkansas Pine Bluff. I believe that was the week before Arizona State fired Herm Edwards. Um, give me Baylor, the home team.
Okay.
I like Oklahoma State in this one.
Same. I
like Oklahoma State's
think-
offense. Spencer Sanders was really good. So
I don't see a way that they stop Spencer Sanders. I know Baylor has a good defense, but he's Spencer has been really good this year.
They'll find a way.
They better hope.
It's all going to come down to defense because Oklahoma State scores at will. You're right about that.
Who is next? Oh, that's right. ESPN 3:30. Pretty much a useless game. Sorry. Northwestern travels to number 11 Penn State. Penn State favored by only 25.5.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one.
Generous Northwestern.
I think Pat Fitzgerald saves his seat in this game, and Penn State blows him out. That way, Pat Fitzgerald just get off the seat and make way for the next head coach. No, it won't be this week, but Penn State definitely wins this game by 25 plus.
Yeah, Penn State's winning this.
Next, we'll make the prediction, but there's a good chance this game might not be played this weekend. But 3:30 ABC, number 22 Wake Forest travels to number 23 Florida State.
Yeah, if they play, Florida State will win. I like Florida State in this one.
Give me Wake Forest in this one.
Yeah, I have Wake also.
Florida State's look good this year, but they're not Wake Forest good.
So I have 2 different predictions for this game. If this game were to be played in the Hurricane, I think Florida State wins. However, I think if it's played post-Hurricane, I think Wake Forest wins. Because with the amount of jump balls that they throw to A.T. Perry on wet field, I feel like that's just going to be insanely overpowered.
I think I don't know. I feel like Dave Clawson does a better job preparing for rain than Mike Norville does.
No, I mean Wake Forest is going to their season is going to matter to Sam Hartman. So if they can stay out of this kind of environment, they're fine.
Yeah,
but, like if Wake was in Clemson this week, I don't think they would have it. I mean, they played great last week, and those are neutral conditions. But I think if they were to have played this week, I think Clemson would have blown them out in those conditions, just because they're not a good ground team.
No, yeah, you're right. It's all air raid.
I think if this game is played, I think we could be looking at a Monday night game, to be honest.
If they play Monday night, I'd still take Wake Forest.
Yeah. I think the odds that this is played on a Saturday is low, because the Hurricane's supposed to be going through their Thursday and Friday, which means they're not going to fly in before a hurricane. And by the time they're allowed to, it's going to be Saturday morning, and I don't think that the NCAA will allow it. So I think maybe Sunday, but I think with NFL, it probably could get moved to a Monday.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Or the ideal situation is that the hurricane completely goes away anyways, and we can play normal. But that does not seem to be route that it's
I think the
taking.
ideal situation is Wake Forest. The hurricane slows down. Wake Forest flies in and they play in the hurricane.
Well, they're not allowed to fly in before a hurricane.
Well, then the hurricane goes away, comes back.
They won't be allowed to fly in before the hurricane, and you have to think the path that it's taking, it's going straight up through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and so they're gonna have to wait a while before they can even take off because the hurricane is gonna be lingering in
In
their
their
flight
path,
path
yeah.
for a long time. So that's why I think this game could end up being a Monday game. It has to get played. It could end up being a crucial game.
If it's a Monday night game or a Monday game, it'll definitely affect if they play next week. I don't know if they play next week or not.
NC State and Florida State play this week, and it's a primetime Saturday game anyway, so that won't affect it. Wake Forest, I'm not sure. They play Army at 7:30, so that won't really matter. So
okay, yeah, okay, so it's good then.
So that was, but yeah. So if it's played, I think Wake Forest wins. But we'll see how that pans out. I think next probably a decent game. It could end up being because of the fuckery that happens with these schools. At 4 p.m. SEC Network, number 17 Texas A&M travels to Starkville versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State is favored in this game by 3.5.
Texas A&M will get it done. They win.
It's a really tough game to pick. Kraigen goes Texas A&M. I'll say Mississippi State.
Nice.
I said Mississippi State too, but
I'm not happy about the pick, but you're right. There is a lot of fuckery that goes on with these teams.
You're making me choose between Texas A&M winning a road game and Mississippi State owning up to being favored in a matchup. So I don't have high hopes either way.
No faith in that.
I cannot be held accountable for my wrong decision in this one. Next, a game that we said probably was going to be a blowout, but 7:30 SEC Network, number 1 Georgia travels to Missouri. Georgia favored 28.
I like Georgia. I don't like being favored by 28 for them, though. I know it's Missouri, but Georgia doesn't really score that much on offense. They only put up 33 on Samford. They only put up 39 on Kent State. Who else?
But this Missouri team is bad.
To be fair, they did put up 49-48 on Oregon and South Carolina. So
this Missouri team is really bad. They got Kansas State is turning out to be decent, but they got blown out by Kansas State, and Missouri really, really did not have a fun day against Abilene Christian.
Yeah.
And so, they only won by 17. So,
they almost had to win. They almost beat Auburn, but their kicker missed a field goal with 2 seconds left.
So I think the cover, I don't know. Georgia does funky things, but I think it'll be more. I think especially after last week, it'll be more urgency within Georgia to not keep it close.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
They'll probably blow them out this week.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Georgia will be playing a little angry after last week.
Yeah, I know they were mad. I know Kirby was mad after last week. So, yeah.
Yeah, Georgia's going to win.
next, college game day site. A game that most likely is going to end up getting played unless this hurricane really, really intensifies. But 7:30 ABC, NC State, number 10 NC State travels number 5 Clemson. Clemson favored 6.5 in the matchup.
6.5.
Yeah.
Jeez, look.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of DJ Uyunglele. I am a big fan of NC State's defense. NC State's offense, I don't know too much about. I know past years it can be hit and miss. Clemson's defense, I don't know too much about this year. I know they've got there's a running back named Will Shipley.
Yeah.
I know he's pretty good. Clemson seems to be putting up pretty good numbers, but on very meh teams, aside from Wake Forest, but that went to 2 overtimes, and they had to come back late to even tie it up. Wake Forest defense kind of gave that one up. I like NC State in this one.
Yeah, I like NC State in this one too. I think they'll probably get it done. I think Clemson's a really good team. They've been a little better than I thought they might have been, but they haven't really played anybody. So should be a good game. I think NC State probably takes it though.
Yeah, I picked NC State, so that means we're going to lose. So
Yeah, thought it might.
but yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. The teams are eerily similar in a lot of respects. One thing that I thought would end up being a difference maker is Clemson is missing a lot of their secondary for the season. And I thought before I knew that there was going to be a hurricane in the game, I thought that we would be able to probably passing make a difference, but it looks like it's going to have to be a really physical Notre Dame NC State-esque matchup in the hurricane. So anything can happen when you're in a hurricane. So I don't know what is going to happen. NC State and Clemson really are probably, outside of Georgia and Bama, probably two of the better front sevens in the nation. And so I think if conditions are as bad as they think they are going to be, I would really recommend betting on the under for this game. Because we could see like a 7-0 or a
10-3, 7-3, something like that.
Yeah, an absurd scoreline. If the conditions are as bad as they think they're going to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I obviously, as a State fan, I think we'll win, but I also am prepared for the worst.
Well, it's good to prepare for the worst. It's good.
Yeah, I've been through this. I haven't been not to this magnitude because this is by far our biggest game in program history. This game sets the tone for whether if we win this, we are legitimate playoff contenders. If we lose, then we're just NC State.
Yeah.
So we'll see. 8 o'clock ACC Network, Georgia Tech travels to number 24 Pitt, favored rightfully so at 23.5.
Yeah. Georgia Tech just fired Geoff Collins. Interim coach steps up, comes in. It's going to be hard to fire up this team after such a a poor start to the season. There's not too much talent on the Georgia Tech team, especially since they've changed from Johnson's triple option. But I think Pitt absolutely just manhandles them, does what they need to do, and gets out. Kraigen? Oh, he said Pitt, so he said he'll be right back.
Okay. All right. He did not just fucking say that. Did he really just put that in the chat?
Yeah, he did.
What a fucking dick.
I can tell you why he picked that last one though. So.
Well, I'll ask him when he gets back. But 10:30 ESPN. Struggling Arizona State travels to number 6 USC. USC favored only 26, which I think is
Low.
kind of low.
Yeah.
I think USC pretty much handles them.
Yeah, ASU loses to Eastern Michigan, fires Herma Edwards, goes out next week against Utah at home, loses 34-13. It's just USC.
Yeah, I think USC covers there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I can't believe he fucking picked Stanford. 11 o'clock, FS1. Stanford travels number 13, Oregon. Oregon favored 16.5.
So his reasoning to pick Stanford was, the Oregon's, been hit and miss, struggle and do well. And he said that Stanford always has like one game a year where they really show out, and he thinks it's going to be this week.
This week.
But I'm taking Oregon.
Yeah, it's just not going to be this week. I think I would understand the logic to a certain point, but Stanford is coming off of the last 2 weeks they played USC and Washington. So they're already fucking getting the shit kicked out of them, and now they got to go to Oregon.
Yeah.
To get the shit kicked out of them. And so, I think the game that's. I think if there's a game where they could perform well against a good school, probably be their final game against BYU.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes the most sense.
Yeah, and also Bo Nix is #back. So
true, he is back. He proved it this past week after almost losing to Washington State.
He's probably the best quarterback in the country. No cap.
Who do you think has the best chance to win the Heisman this year? So far, 4 games in the season, 5 for some.
If I had to pick, I don't know about who's the best or who the favorite or whatever. But
Yeah.
if you were to ask me who I would pick for Heisman at this point, it's Hendon Hooker.
Really?
Yeah, he's been really good.
Yeah, he has. He's not thrown an interception all year. He's not thrown an interception since I think the Ole Miss game last year.
Yeah, he's been really good. I think if
think of what?
I don't think it'll last. I think that as the season progresses, other people
Alabama and Georgia are going to give him hell for sure.
Overtake it, but the reason I also say that is because as much as anti-Florida. He did perform when he was needed to perform.
Yeah, he did what he needed to
And
do. The defense did not, but he did.
and I think that's right now what puts him over C.J. Stroud for me is, C.J. was underwhelming in his big game so far. Um, but I think that that's something that is going to end up being easily overtaken. I think when
Yeah. I mean, I think
to
Michael.
CJ Stroud really needs to go big in the Penn State game. Um, I think if he wants to have a great chance, because
Mhm.
the Big Ten this year is they've they they've not the Big Ten does not look good this year.
No, they're
And I think with all
struggling.
the good games
Doesn't
that
ever.
he normally has, that he's not going to get this year, like the marquee matchups, uh, like last year, the performance against Michigan State was a huge one for him. But how
Yeah.
Michigan State looks awful.
Yeah.
Iowa would have been a good one, and Iowa's not looking good. And there's a chance that that team is, you know, there's a chance that you know they're. I'm not saying there's a great chance, but there's a chance that Iowa's 3-3 going into that game against Ohio State, and so that's no longer a big matchup. So he really needs to show out in the Penn State Michigan games,
Mhm.
because depending on what Hooker does, Hooker is gonna have multiple games going forward, where he is playing marquee teams, um, to have that Heisman moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, he's got Alabama, he's got Georgia, Kentucky.
Tennessee still plays, Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia, um, and those are top 7 teams.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are.
Hooker's got a really good schedule for a Heisman campaign. So if he can put it together and Tennessee can do some damage, he's got a really good chance.
Like I said,
And honestly, and the thing is, you know what? If LSU goes out and they beat the shit out of Auburn next week, people are going to look at this LSU Tennessee game as a marquee matchup for Tennessee too.
and they will. They
Yeah.
will beat the
As much
shit
as
out of Auburn because Auburn sucks.
it's not going to be.
Yeah.
Uh, that's going to be a big matchup in Baton Rouge. Even though it's a noon game, that's
Yeah.
questionable scheduling. But yeah, I think right now I would Hooker. Uh, um, that was that sounded bad, but um, yeah, Hooker right now I think is who I would vote for. But I really would not be surprised.
Would you
But
put Michael Penix
it's
Jr. on
also
your list?
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
yeah, I would.
yeah.
But the the problem with that is, um,
Not great
no,
competition.
he's been good. It's not that. It's just
No, he's doing
if
good,
you
but
were
yeah.
the thing is, if right now, if the season ended right now, and you were going to compare Hooker and Michael Penix Jr., you would look at both quarterbacks, and the first thing you would say is, who have they played? And
Yeah.
Washington really has not played anybody yet, and that's why
Yeah.
he needs the season. He needs the best thing for Washington is for Oregon to keep winning, because that would be the game where Michael Penix could have his Heisman moment. They need Oregon to keep winning, and they need Washington State to start winning.
Yeah. We don't have
'Cause they're not
USC
going to get it.
or we don't have USC or Utah on the schedule this year until potential Vegas trip. So
Yeah, they
we
need
have a pretty
Oregon
light
to.
schedule compared to others.
obviously they need to keep winning, and that's obvious. But they really need. I think for a Heisman campaign for Michael Penix compared to what he's going to be up against in Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, and if Hooker keeps doing what he's doing, he
Mm-hmm.
needs he needs these teams like Oregon or Oregon State or Washington State to keep winning so that he can have big games. And then if they go to the Pac-12 championship, then a big game against USC to pole vault him. So I mean, he's up there, but I just think if you were asking me like today who I would vote for, it'd be Hooker.
Hooker, yeah. And it's not just because of what he does in the air, but on the ground too, I guess. Because he's a
It's just his playmaking ability.
yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. He's 24th in the SEC in rushing yards.
He might come with a lower QBR, but when I'm looking at Heisman, I want whoever. I think the playmaking ability offsets it, and
Yeah.
he's really good at creating something out of nothing. And that's not saying that Stroud or Young or Caleb Williams or others aren't. It's just
Mike Leach is at
he's
Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
Has he always been an air raid coach?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that explains Will Rogers having 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns. Then,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just looking at that. And I'm like, man, that's a lot for Mississippi State. But yeah, I agree with you though. I think Hendon Hooker is absolutely my front runner right now. But a lot of people like
I
Stroud or
think
Bryce Young better.
if you were to ask me who the Heisman winner will be, I think I would go C.J. Stroud. But I think
Yeah,
if you're asking me who I would vote for today, if the season ended today, I
it'd
would
be
vote
Hooker.
for Hooker.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. Hooker's been really good so far. He's definitely probably the front runner.
Kraigen, explain to KME or explain to Levi, not yourself. Explain to Levi why you picked Stanford.
So
You have a mental disability. I know. You don't have to.
So I don't like Oregon. That's obvious, but I kind of like some of the stuff Stanford's doing. Their offensive line scares me. I don't think they're good at all. So Oregon can. That's something a matchup Oregon can definitely capitalize on, especially with a run stopper like Noah Sewell at linebacker. If they can stop the run game, it could be a long day for Stanford. But I like Stanford in this game. So I think Tanner McKee is going to have a pretty solid game. And I think they'll get like a low score win. So
You guys have an
I
upset
think
for the week.
you're on drugs to put that out there.
KME's upset for the week is Stanford over Oregon.
Yeah.
Upset of the week. It's not even really an upset. Hold on, I'll have to look. You go. You do yours first.
I'm having a look
And
too.
if you're going by favorite, then it would be Oklahoma State over Baylor. But that's not really an upset to me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You go first, and then I'll do mine. Well,
I gotta get
would
out
you
of
count
time.
Texas Tech State?
I'm just counting it by what's favored by the line. I guess by what Vegas thinks. I know you don't think
I'll
that
go Texas
Oklahoma State is.
Tech over Kansas State.
That's a good one. Yeah. I like Oregon State over Utah. Still.
Yeah. I like that one too.
Yeah, I guess that's what I would pick, Oregon State over Utah.
Yeah.
If I had to pick. Well, all right. So those are pick an unexpected upset that you wouldn't be surprised happened, but you don't think will happen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. One that I would be surprised that happens that I don't think will happen. Virginia Tech over North Carolina. I just like Virginia Tech's defense too much, and I hate North Carolina.
So
I have
upset
mine.
that we want to happen that we don't think will.
Not necessarily want to happen, but like if it happened, you wouldn't be surprised, but you don't think that it will happen.
Yeah, that's fair.
So mine that I'm gonna choose is because my upset that I think will happen is Texas Tech over Kansas State. The one
Yeah.
I don't think will happen, but I'm not surprised if it does, is Northwestern over Penn State.
Wow, really? That's a big one. That would be
Only
huge for Penn
because,
State.
yeah, I think I think me thinks that will happen. Not necessarily thinks it will happen, but I think I don't know. I feel like Penn State does some stupid shit.
Kansas over
Yeah.
Iowa State's an upset too, but I don't see how Iowa State can beat Kansas.
Yeah. Let's go California over Washington State.
That's an upset.
Yeah, Washington State's favored by 3.5. So
I could see it after the way Washington State played last week, but
yeah, Cal's been pretty good so far too. So
aside from South Alabama, no, it was UCLA. You're right. I get the two mixed up.
I sincerely hope that Virginia Tech does beat UNC. That would be fucking everything. If we beat Clemson and y'all beat UNC, that's all I need.
Yeah,
that'd be
Like
great.
that.
that would make
Absolutely,
my
there'd be
weekend
no
too.
shit talk from any UNC fans, and that would be just.
You're right. You wouldn't because
that-
Tech is terrible right now. I think if Tech played Auburn, it would end up like 10-7, and I don't know who'd win.
Nobody.
Yeah, not the viewers.
Forever overtime.
Yeah, not the fans. That's for
America loses knowing that game is happening.
They cued the
Yeah.
Frank Beamer with his hands up in the 0-0 game against Wake Forest.
The fucking British will reclaim the colonies of that game.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Quick Heisman shout out for Muhammad Ibrahim too.
Yeah, the 8th year's running back.
Yeah. Coming off the Achilles injury and looks just ridiculous so far this season. So.
I mean,
He's gonna win
him and
NFL
Tanner
Rookie
Morgan
of the
both look good together.
Yeah.
He's gonna win NFL Rookie of the Year at 30.
Yeah, exactly. All right. If that's all, then I guess this will conclude the end of the podcast for today. For anybody watching or listening, we'll see you all hopefully next week after this weekend's games. And see ya.